All right. So this is a presentation on TEALS. This is a program for schools that want to either start a computer science program or expand their current computer science program and would like some help to do that. So if you are a teacher at a school or a school administrator, or you work with schools with some regularity, this hopefully will be an interesting and useful presentation for you. If you work with and I should say high schools too. If you work with elementary, middle school students and don't have connections to high schools, or with university and don't really have connections to high school, that's probably going to be a little bit less useful for you. If folks could just put in the chat kind of where they're at, what their role is. I have my colleague Rachel is on the line too, and she can respond to questions in the chat. She can send you a quick link to the website to learn more. If this is something that you think a colleague might be interested in, but you want to see another presentation, then that's totally okay. If you want to learn more about TEALS, that's what we're here for. All right, but I am going to begin. So I am Joey Knapp. I'm the regional manager for Northern California. I'm joined by Rachel, UC Berkeley alum. She is in the Pacific Northwest. I think that I will save this video for the end. It's sometimes useful to see if people are going to come in, but I think with my other announcement, I think that took care of that. So we'll save this for the end. It's a nice video, but I'd rather just kind of get through my piece quickly, and we'll come back to this. Nope, there we go. So TEALS is, it stands for Technology Education Literacy in School. It's a part of Microsoft Philanthropies, and it pairs trained computer science professionals, so software engineers, project managers, that kind of thing, with high school teachers that have been teaching for a while and know how to teach and like teaching and want to learn computer science. We have those volunteers go in and they can help support the class, but more importantly, teach the teacher how to teach computer science. So we also are a community of teachers and volunteer industry professionals working together. We provide rigorous curricula and resources developed by the educators, and we're kind of all educators ourselves, to support these teaching teams. And we, most importantly, are providing more pathways for students to learn computer science. Lots of students across the whole country, and in British Columbia, Canada. That's the little top area over here, BC, Canada. So we are in all of these schools across the country and expanding. So we have 625 TEALS schools currently, sorry, this was for last year, supporting about 21,000 students, 35% of which are female. We are supported by 750 companies who, it's 1,800 volunteers, and they represent 750 different companies. So this is not just Microsoft employees. We have volunteers from all of the major tech companies, and many minor ones as well, smaller companies as well. TEALS supports teachers with a couple different models. So if you are a brand new computer science teacher to either just computer science in general or to that particular class, we can support with a co-teach model. So you would be supported by up to 4 volunteers who could lead the lesson, deliver the content, do programming demonstrations, and then go around and help students troubleshoot code. Volunteers can help grading, lesson planning, you know, the kind of the whole gamut. Everything that computer science is involved in, the volunteers will help with. If you are already familiar with programming, as I imagine folks attending a SnapCon are, then maybe you don't need so much help. Maybe you just need a couple volunteers. Maybe you're trying to expand and now you've been teaching APCSP and you want to teach APCSA now, but aren't familiar with Java. So you kind of get the idea of programming, but want help specifically with those Java pieces. So maybe lab support would be a good model for you, where we can support you with 2 volunteers and you would still be leading the lessons, but they would be providing that enrichment, maybe leading a lesson every once in a while, but primarily they would be doing that, that troubleshooting, debugging support that, that they need as they're learning how to work on their own projects. You know, there is a progression to this model. So teachers that start off in the co-teach model will progress to the lab support model. Teachers in the lab support model will progress to our alumni program. You know, we never just kind of cut ties. You know, we are interested in you know, our goal is to get teachers to be able to teach independently, but we don't want to leave you high and dry. So we continue to support with resources and access to professionals through an online network. There wouldn't be volunteers in the class necessarily, but you know, you're not left on your own after that. We still want to provide you with that community. Here are the classes that we support. Our introduction to computer science. This is our kind of main curricula that we support is the one that we've developed. And it is modeled after BJC, and then we've added Python to the second semester. So it's something like BJC, and they use Snap for that first semester, and then the second semester the students learn Python. And we support that with co-teach and lab support. We do support AP Computer Science Principles curriculums, you know, all the major ones, Code.org, Beauty and Joy of Computing, of course, Mobile CSP, and you know, we can provide support with lab support for that, as that is something that is a little bit more accessible to teachers, even if they've never taught computer science before. Also, it's not our curriculum. And then finally, we do support AP Computer Science A. And we have a curriculum for that, and we also support other curriculum providers such as UTeach or CS Awesome. We can support those classes that want to use that as well. So, you know, if you all could put in the chat, maybe if you are teaching AP Computer Science Principles, or maybe a standalone Snap class that's similar to our intro class, you know, just kind of explain in the chat what you're teaching and maybe what your goals are. If you're teaching Computer Science Principles, maybe you want something for those students to do now. Maybe you want to expand to the Java class, or maybe these students, you know, you kind of got the students that are already taking other AP classes, but you want to introduce students to you know, who might not otherwise take a computer science class if they're only AP. Maybe you want to get some freshmen or sophomores taking computer science, and maybe be interested in adding the introduction to computer science course. We also support remote teaching. So this was this slide deck. Everything about this presentation mostly was created during, you know, before coronavirus and all of that. So we were teaching remote, you know, before it was cool. We have some regions like Northern California where we have a lot of tech professionals, a lot of volunteers that are ready to support. And then we have other regions that we support that do not have those volunteers. So the volunteers from, let's say, my region will call in and support other regions. This is, of course, much more relevant now with everyone going remote. So we are offering a lot of remote support, seeing as we've been doing it for a little bit. yeah, we find that our model works very well in the remote setting. Diversity and inclusion is also a big focus of TEALS. We really it's very important to us that we are broadening participation in computer science. So we work with the schools to set up not just the enrollment process, but also the classroom and then the instruction. We provide training and ongoing support to broaden to enhance equity and inclusion in computer science classrooms. I'll also mention that Microsoft recently announced plans that in the next 5 years, we're essentially going to double the amount of schools that we support, and we're specifically targeting Black and African American communities and schools that support those communities predominantly. So it's a huge expansion of the TEALS program, specifically targeted at diversity, equity, and inclusion for underrepresented communities, but even more specifically Black and African American communities. So a little bit about our TEALS volunteers. It is an effort. A lot of schools will have networks that we don't necessarily have access to. So the schools will help us recruit those volunteers, and then we have our own networks that we can reach out to too. These are folks that are passionate about computer science. They're passionate about giving back to the community. They recognize their own privilege in having computer science or having access to computer science, and they really just want to share this. It is a huge commitment on the volunteers. One class would have the same 2 or 4 volunteers throughout the entire year, with volunteers showing up every week. Volunteers put in 4 to 6 hours, and I forget what our calculation is for how much time they spend for the whole year. It's hundreds of hours on supporting this class for free. The way that we set up the classes is, actually this is on the next slide. So we ask that the class be the first period of the day, so the volunteers can either go to the class in person or log in remotely. And then after that, they can go to work. A lot of these details are more for school admin, so I'm gonna skip that. I'm actually not able to see the chat when I'm in this like share presenter mode, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully everything's okay. Rachel, you can unmute if there's something that I should speak to. And then, so going forward from here, your next step, hopefully, as a classroom teacher, would be to reach out to your administration, say, hey, I heard about this cool TEALS thing. I'd love to add a computer science class to our schedule, to our offerings. Is this something that we can look into? And then, we could have another meeting, or you could just go straight and fill out the application. And that application will open sometime in November, but we're happy to start these conversations now, as evidenced by me giving this presentation. That's pretty much it. I'm wondering if anyone has any questions. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see what is going on in the chat. Okay, great. Questions about Europe. And, I was thinking about that as I was kind of running through this deck in my head. I was like, oh, I've been meeting a lot of people from Germany. I should definitely call out that we're only in North America right now. I forgot to mention that earlier. So does anyone have any questions about the program and about maybe how they and their school could fit into this? And then how, oh, there's a question. When I use the Microsoft Teals, it takes me to Teal Pulse. What is Teals Pulse? Oh, that's interesting. Teals Pulse is an app for volunteers to kind of give feedback about their experience. It's kind of like, it's a few steps into the process. So that's interesting that you're getting to there. I wonder why that is. You know, let me post the, yeah, so here's this one. And then Rachel suggests using tealsk12.org as well. Would anyone mind unmuting themselves? I used Teal once. We're able to handle my urban students. I'd like to try again. Oh, okay. And Alvin, if you don't mind unmuting yourself, you can just happy
Yeah, I'm
to
here.
talk to yourself. Okay, great.
All right. Yeah,
Where are you located?
I'm in Oakland, California, but I teach in Emeryville, California.
Oh, that's great. That you're in my region.
Yeah, I had two volunteers, one from Google and one from I think it was Uber. You know, and I have some very very challenging students. You know, urban students. You know,
Sure.
it's basically an African American high school.
Uh-huh.
Predominantly, but it's pretty much mixed. We have a lot of English learning students. We have quite a bit of a Hispanic population, but predominantly African American. And it was pretty tough for the volunteers, you know, so I ended up finish out the year myself.
I see. Well, that's too
I
bad.
did like the program. You know, I went through the teacher training, and you know, I like the setup of the program. I just wish I had access to different volunteers, I should say.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, you know, I'm certainly sorry that that happened. What year were you doing that?
This is, let's see, 2017. Yeah, 2017, 2018.
Okay. Um, you know, maybe Rachel can speak to how the program has changed since then. You know, I know that we do have a lot more support. You know, it seems like we have more support for the volunteers these days.
Yeah, because I'm not that, my background in terms of computer science is not that heavy. Really a software and more of a
Sure.
mechanical computer type teacher.
Okay.
Taught a lot of computer repair and, you know, applications, you know, web design, you know, and basically a lot of the soft skills. So when it comes to programming, you know, that's not my forte. And
I
that was
see.
the reason for, you know, coming to Teal.
I see.
Yeah.
And Alvin, I think that I know you. I think that I know you from the
You
Golden
look
Gate
familiar. You look familiar,
CSTA
Calvin.
meetings, right?
Yeah. Probably so.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah, so
just,
you know, I was a computer science teacher prior to this, so I
right.
was attending those meetings pretty regularly until I started doing a robotics club that met on Saturdays.
Gotcha.
And then I had children too, and that kind of hard to do a lot of other things. So yeah, kind of
I'm
stopped
almost ready
going to
for
those meetings.
retirement, so I understand
Sure.
how that goes. Yeah. I've been at it for about 25 years, and so for this last, say, 2 to 3 years, I just want to help the school. They have a computer science pathway that they're trying to start, so I'm just trying
Oh,
to
that's great.
get off to a better start, you know, this year.
Okay. Oh, and what's the name of the school?
Emory High School.
Emory High School. Okay, that's great. So, is that in Oakland Unified School District?
No, it's in Emeryville. Emeryville, it's a
Okay.
tiny school district. It only has one elementary, middle, and high school. We're all on the same campus now. We used
Okay.
to, and we're between Berkeley and Oakland.
Sure. So I'll put in my email address in the chat, and you know, feel free to reach out
All right.
if you want to connect and you know, talk about what how TEALS can help
Okay.
for next year. Yeah, happy to talk to you know, administrators or yourself or whoever.
Okay, great. Appreciate it, Joy.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for talking.
All right. I got
Uh,
your
uh,
email.
Perfect. So, you know, and you know, if anyone else wants to to chat, happy to do that. If you just want to send me an email, that's also okay. If you think that this doesn't really apply for you, but you know some people that might be interested, please feel free to pass my email around. Maybe not like use it to sign up for junk newsletters or something, but feel free to give that to other high school teachers or administrators that that could be interested. Certainly other teachers in your district, if you've been kind of yelling from your soapbox for years about computer science and how great Snap is and, how everyone should know how to use it, et cetera, and everyone says yes, but, and no one's feel comfortable teaching it, maybe this is the way to do it. Maybe this is the way to get other folks in your district to see themselves teaching this material with the support of industry professionals. So how does this sound to other folks? Is there anyone else who has a plan going forward that might include TEALS? All right, Rachel, do you have anything that you wanted to add? We have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I think for folks where it might not be as applicable, if you aren't in a high school or if your school has already built up their program or in the process of doing that, that is, for one, very, very exciting. We're super thrilled about that because we really do want all students to have access to computer science. And just want to note, as I mentioned in the chat, some of our materials are also open source for anyone to use. They don't have to necessarily be a school that we partner with. We found that, as Joey mentioned, for our intro curriculum, we have based that off of BJC and made just some adjustments for our student populations. But that is something, certainly we've seen some middle schools will take just to use as additional resources to supplement, other learning. So please, I'm going to put Joey's name out there again, but do feel free to reach out if you're interested in those resources, and particularly looking towards next year where there is a lot of uncertainty. As Joey mentioned, we do support a pretty robust remote program, and we have been able to collect some best practices around that. So we do have some more resources around some of those faucets if there is an interest that it might work well with your schools, may that be here in the US or outside, where we might not be able to partner.
Great, thanks, Rachel. So any other last questions, thoughts, concerns? All right, well, our information is there. You can reach us on that website. There's a contact link to get in touch with people, or email me directly is fine, especially you, Alvin. Yeah, and we really appreciate you all, both of you, taking the time to hear our presentation.